Hi everybody. Welcome to what the church calendar calls ordinary time. But I happen to think that there's a better name that matches our liturgical color of green right now. The green and growing season. This is a time in our church calendar where we really focus on what it means to be a true disciple or follower of Jesus, what that looks and feels like. So I've got a question for you. How many of you are sports fans? If I had to guess, there's probably quite a few of you out there, right? And what do fans do? They cheer for their team. They wear their t-shirts and their hats, and quite often they yell at the other team when things don't go their way. Well, this idea kind of made me think of the end of Luke chapter 9, where the Samaritans wouldn't welcome Jesus and his followers. The disciples got really fired up. In fact, they even asked Jesus if they should call down the fire of heaven to consume them. Whoa! Talk about some harsh words. Though, I bet many of us adults can probably think of a time where we felt kind of like that when things weren't going the way we wanted them to for our favorite team. But I just love the way that Jesus responds to the disciples. It's one short verse that we can take so much away from. Luke chapter 9, verse 55 says, "But Jesus turned and spoke sternly to them." Jesus called them out. He called them out on their behavior. He called them out on their intolerance. And then in chapter 10, Jesus goes on to paint them an even clearer picture in the parable of the Good Samaritan. I bet you remember that story. You know the one where the least likely person in the story whose actions really showed the way that followers should live. The very people the disciples reacted to earlier in chapter 9 because things weren't going how they wanted. So I wonder, are we being true disciples? Walking in the way of Jesus? Or are we fans, sitting on the sidelines, cheering when we feel like we win, when our rules are being followed, but reacting harshly when our opinions aren't followed, when different interpretations are offered? When we look at true discipleship, it's in stark contrast to conventional, ordinary life. It's more than just being a fan or cheerleader for Jesus. It's on the move through the neighborhood. It's on the move and living out God's radical love. It's on the move, opening up and looking ahead. So, am I saying that excitement and passion for your team is a bad thing? No way. But when it comes to the family of God, it's not team versus team. We have to get out of the stands and be what the word Christian means. Little Christ. Like our church t-shirt says, love God, love people. Jesus calls us not only toward tolerance and harmony, but toward humble, generous affirmation of all people. In other words, true discipleship is about being on the move. Truly following Jesus isn't standing still. So during this green and growing season, let's blossom and grow together. Amen.